Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be reviewing my fourth match from the 2023 Midwest Classic. If you did not see the last video, in my third match I did end up beating my opponent in a pretty decisive game, to be honest, but it was still a fun game to review and to play. This game is going to be against a 5-dan, so this is going to be my second strongest opponent. I already beat the strongest player in the tournament, so this is the second strongest player, which of course means this is basically the second most complicated game that I played. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump right in. Standard opening, back off, and then enclose, black approaches, and then we get the Kobayashi. And basically the Kobayashi pre-AI was one of the most popular fusekis to play. But nowadays, because of AIs have shown just how to refute it. So I'll go into this a little bit. Basically, before, the whole idea was, okay, white needs to do something about this area, because if white goes elsewhere, this kind of formation for black is too good. So the idea was white needed to do something, but what was the best way for white to do that? If you would play a quote-unquote normal move, like this approach or this approach, you're going to get pincered, and the idea was that this K4 stone is in a good spot to attack you, whether you played that one or this one. So the idea was to play a little bit further away like this, but even then we would get variations like this, where black happily scoops out most of the bottom. I say most because there's still invasion spots, but for the most part that's going to be black. So this is kind of the ideal position for the Kobayashi. Now, even though this might be what black wants, that doesn't mean that this is game ending for white. White's probably satisfied for not having to get under attack. But I'll show you what AIs have come up with to deal with the Kobayashi. And it's simply the attachment. So after this attachment, there's basically 4 moves for black. Both Hanes and both extensions. So we'll look at each move and compare that to this variation here. And we'll see how they differ. So let's say black just pulls back like this. White's going to descend. Black will descend, want to keep white out of the corner. Hane, cover, tiger's mouth, black Ataris, and the next move might surprise you, but this early on, it's okay for white to just go elsewhere. If black just captures, black is getting a little over-concentrated in the lower right. Not that it is exactly the same, but imagine white went here and black just plays a move in the lower right. It feels a little slow, doesn't it? So that's why, in this case, it's okay for white to leave it. If black pincers instead or tries to attack this, then white can start the ko. But again, even then, let's say white plays a ko threat, black takes. Black is still a little over-concentrated. White has gotten 1 move, 2 moves, and 3 moves, and even later, if black goes elsewhere, white can still run out and use these stones to white's advantage, depending on how the board changes. So black probably doesn't want to spend that many moves to take a relatively small corner because of how many moves it takes. Now, black does want to add a move, though, because if black goes elsewhere, this Hane becomes huge. It's not just white making a base. It's also, like if black goes elsewhere, it's white attacking the entire lower right. So, yeah, this one probably don't want to play as black. Here is Gote. Here you leave a big Sente. So, yeah, and if what black has to answer, then white will happily extend. And again, if you compare, this is the variation we're comparing to. If you compare any of these variations, like even this one, white is happy getting 3 moves elsewhere. White is very happy getting 3 moves elsewhere. with these stones as well still having Aji. So that's what happens if you extend that way. If you extend into the 3-3, white will jump, and black should poke the shape. White will jump again. Black needs to not get sealed into the corner. If you might feel like you want to go elsewhere, but blocking here not only isolates the lower right, but starts to create some Aji at h3. Right now that black isn't connected to the corner, these stones have a weakness. It's their only base. So black probably wants to add some sort of move, but even here, white can go elsewhere. And the idea is, how can you attack this group efficiently? And again, compare this once again to the pre-AI variation. Black takes the entire lower right. White has a nice shape on the right side, but it is still invadable. So white still needs to add some extra move at some point as well. So yeah, this is also better. This one. Sorry. This one. This one is still better. Because how can you attack this? It's so light on the bottom. White stones in the lower right. It's just so hard to attack. And again, a lot of these moves, black needs to answer. Like, black can't ignore this. Like, once again, this turn becomes too big. So a lot of these moves are sente for white even. Okay, now we get to the hanes. Black hanes on the outside. White hanes on the inside. And whether black Ataris and connects or just connects, white's going to just play this move anyways. And whether white pushes once and then slides, or just slides, again, the corner is worth quite a bit. And again, compare that to the first variation, the pre-AI variation. And it might look like black's getting a big slice of the lower side, but actually, there's still quite a bit of invasion spots that black needs to worry about. There's obviously a cut at p5 at some point, but even this is a 4-space extension. That's still not secure territory. Like, even if black goes elsewhere, white can play light moves like this, saying, okay, black, are you really going to just play a move on the third line here? Okay, I've already reduced you. So, yeah, even though it might look like this is good direction for black, it might not be what black wants. Yeah, and that there's no real, like, there's cuts here, but white will just capture anything that black gives white, if that makes sense. So, and then we get to what was played in the game. And here you actually have, like, when black hane is on the outside, your only choice is to hane into the corner. But when black hane is on the inside, you can hane either way, p3 or r5. And it really comes down to the kind of game you're comfortable with. If you hane on the bottom side, again, black will do some sort of Atari, and then you will extend. And the idea is this one is once again isolating the lower side, and therefore putting pressure onto the lower left. Now, the difference is for white isn't making that many points. So this isn't very point-oriented. This is more fighting-oriented. This would be if white likes a fight. If you hane on the other side, the idea is if this were to happen, white will push again, and extend. And again, in this sort of position, the idea is, okay, if black wants the bottom, I'm going to give black the bottom, but look at how far I can extend with my wall now, because I'm able to get all these moves for basically free. And this is the variation that I like to choose. Sometimes I'll mix it up, but in general, I'll choose this sort of variation because even though I do like fighting, we can see black's direction is towards the right side, which is where all the points are. So again, this is more just if you like to fight. So I like actually giving black the bottom side in exchange for some thickness and a nice extension. Which again, if you compare this to let me just find it. If you compare this to this sort of variation, compared to this variation, white's wall is not as secure now. So it's just not as strong of a position. And again, after black extends here, I'm not thinking of invading basically from the K line right. All these I'm already viewing as black's territory. So it's okay for white to just give that to black. in this case, in this variation, like so. So yeah, so these are basically the variations that AIs have come up with to deal with the Kobayashi. And it's pretty foolproof, honestly. If you can remember these 4 variations, there's not a lot of intricacies that you need to remember. So if people do Kobayashi to you, always remember to attach here. This avoids a fight. It simplifies the game. And yeah, it feels good to get. So I do attach Black Hanes. Doesn't Atari and just connect? So okay, I'll connect. Black jumps, and then I extend. So again, I avoid any sort of fights, any sort of complications. And Black's move here is okay, but it does leave a weakness at P3 eventually, right? If White ever gets this move here, this not only is looking to Hane at P3, but also to jump out. So I'm not sure about this one. I think just sliding or jumping along the bottom is okay for Black. Play there. And then Black splits the left side. Not again, this feels a little doesn't feel great because you're basically, before AI, it was basically thought of as Miai, right? Like whichever way my opponent takes, I'll take the other way, right? Like in this scenario, Black gets a 2-space extension either way. But nowadays, we don't want our opponent to make this decision for us because they can make the decision that's worth more for them, right? So here, I would consider trying to get this extension. Again, it does leave some Aji here. You can't think of this as Sente, though, because your opponent's going to try to ignore. But if White does ignore, there is some bad Aji here. There is some bad Aji here. If White does answer, then we can play some maybe shoulder hit like this, and now we're building the upper right. So here, and I think even White could play either way. I played this one to force Black to extend down, which forces me to play D2. It's a nice natural progression in this game, because getting at D2 obviously secures the corner, but it also creates Aji at H3. But I even think going this way is also playable, assuming Black does extend 2, kick, and even Hane and connect. Black's shape is a little over-concentrated. This, I actually talk about this kind of shape in my last review in my 3rd match for the 2023 Midwest Classic. This kind of shape comes up, actually, how you don't want to get kicked here. The thing with this, though, is Black can maybe switch it up a little bit to avoid getting kicked. So that's why I chose this one, as well as because I want to get D2. Now Black shoulder hits. I pincer here. Usually you would think, the 2 options are extend either way, but you can also pincer here, basically saying if Black descends, which Black does, it naturally gives me M17, which is why in some cases I wonder if Black can even play L17 to prevent my extension. I'm kind of forced to play G17, and then Black can extend at R11. And again, Black is building a big upper right here. And the upper left still has a lot of Aji for Black. So even though White gets to connect with G17 and the stone at G16 is kind of isolated, there's still Aji in the upper left. So I'm considering going to L17 as Black. But I figured Black was like, oh, you didn't answer my shoulder hit, so let me get my follow-up. Clamp, yes. Block. We can see after this, like, Black captures the F17 stone, but now there's no Aji in the corner. Again, compare that to, where is it? Oops, sorry. There we go. Compare that to, like, here, right? There's still a lot of Aji in the upper left. But after Black plays the sequence in the game, now the upper left is completely solid. Black descends. White jumps. Black jumps. And then attach. So this attachment is very good timing. Because right now, Black is flexible. Black can take the corner, or Black could take the outside. And even in some cases, I don't know what I want. Maybe later I want to, oops, if Black goes elsewhere, maybe I want to take the corner, right? There's Aji in the corner. But once Black fixes, I know Black wants the corner. So I can play these attachments knowing that Black has spent a move at 018, which tells me Black wants the corner. So I'm saying, okay, Black, do you really want the corner? If you do, you're going to be a little more over-concentrated. And these 2 stones may be useful for me. So this is very good timing as well. Once you know your opponent wants something, you can use that to your advantage to get them to play a certain way. So I kick here might feel a little slow, but I figured, okay, if black gets this move, black gets an eye at g18 for the most part and starts to reduce my base. So I figured, okay, it's a spot where we both kind of want to play because both of our groups are actually not 100% alive. And then black goes here. This move is way too slow. Way too slow. It basically helps black get 1 eye in Gote. Where if I'm black, I'm either thinking of going elsewhere and just being like, okay, white, attack me, or playing some move quickly into the center like this. Maybe something like this. Just something a little faster than what black did. Because this isn't helping black get out still. So now, again, whenever you play a move, you want your follow-ups. So once I play D2, I'm looking for my next chance to get the follow-up to D2. Black attaches. This is nice timing. And then attaches on top. And then extend. So again, here, black can just block here. And even if white gets this, something like this, black can build the bottom side with this kind of variation. And again, this stone at f3, it's kind of like once black played O18, the board has changed. So for example, once white had played d2, what is the point value for the f3 stone? There's not much, right? Unless you can kill the h3 stone, what's the value in f3? Again, before, like let's say before this, let's say instead of going here, now there is value in the f3 stone because this stone can still play moves like c3. But once white has descended here, where's the point value for the f3 stone? It's not there anymore. It doesn't exist. So if I'm black, I am thinking of giving that up. Whereas, as you can see in the game, I extend, black covers, and I play here, and then black bumps. So black's even trying to separate me. But again, even if black separates me, if I can just live on the bottom, what is the point value of G2? I think there's more points for black to get on the bottom side than in the center. So I jump, which again, maybe 5 minutes ago in this review, remember I was saying how white wants to get this spot here because it attacks the P3 weakness? Well, black gave it to me. Black almost forced me to play this move. And this weakness is very big, very big. Black wedges, and right now, I don't know if I want to Atari this way or Atari this way. So what do? I Hane now. So this is another very good timing. Depending on how black answers this move, I might play differently. So for example, let's say I had done this first, right? And then Haned, where black could maybe just play here. And if I descend, black can cut. And then this is actually perfectly peeping, so maybe I have to connect. And all of a sudden, I've given up the L2 stone and the M3 stone. But imagine black still fixes this weakness. Well, now I'm not giving up as many stones. So that's why it's good timing to, before I do this, to Hane. To make sure black's invested. So now I know black is invested in the corner, so now I can Atari. And then here, this is probably my first. It's a mistake. It's not a huge mistake, but it's definitely a mistake. Is I should block here because not only does this fix the cut here, but that means it also fixed the cut at K2. And what I was thinking was I was worried about this Atari, but there's no great way for black to connect back. And you might be worried about this kind of Atari, which does feel troublesome, but white can always Hane and Sente and then push and cut. And these 3 stones are very hard to save. And it doesn't matter what black plays. If black plays here, well, that one. Let's not do that one. Let's say black goes there. Like, it's so difficult for black to try to save these. And if I need to, I can always just live as well. Like, this is an alive group. So, yeah. In the game, I just connect to prevent this Atari, but then black cuts and captures. But again, these 3 stones, I rip out black's bottom in Sente, and I'm happy, basically. So I descend. Black plays here. This is a nice move. This is a very famous life and death. So this is, if you don't know this, now you do, kind of thing. This is a good way for black to live. Hane, black goes there, and then cut. So this cut, the reason why I cut here, even though I might want to play something else, maybe this turn, is I didn't want to see this Atari and then block here, because this starts to connect up black's groups. Now you might be saying, well, what if you Atari? And if black connects, then like, what's the problem, right? Well, the key is, I said, what if black connects? Black doesn't need to connect now. Black can just give you that one stone. Especially if you can capture the stones here, or if you have to spend moves like this, you're going to give black a lot of thickness. And it's not super clear, right? Like, black has a lot of Aji here. So, yeah, the fact that black can play this, I have to play this kind of move. And even if black just extends here, black's connected up black's groups. Now black has some good thickness here. So that's why I cut here. Black extending here, though, is quite crazy to me. Because I just Atari and connect, and look at the damage black has done to black's left side. So black has to jump, but then I can capture, and now again, these 3 stones, I don't know what they're doing. Black stands up, I Hane. Black Ataris, connect, and then black cuts, which is again it's just kind of crazy because it just doesn't work. I can extend. This is threatening not just the Hane, like if black saves these stones, it's actually threatening to play the belly of the 2 stones, where there's no way for black to save now. Even though it looks like there's a cut here with some a push here with some cuts, we can see black's down to 2 liberties. So, and even if I couldn't do that, this Hane into this is just so painful, right? So black has to descend, but then I can just capture these 4 stones. So now black invades. So now white has a significant lead. Not only have I ripped up the bottom side, but now I capture the 4 or 5 stones at e7. So this game has turned difficult for black, because even look at the board. Black is starting to get into that territory of having a lot of groups on the board. So black has 1 group in the lower right, 1 group on the bottom, 1 group on the left, 1 group in the upper left, and 1 in the upper right. So that's 5 groups. 2 of them, 2.5 of them, like the lower right is for sure alive, the upper right is for sure alive. Bottom side, technically not alive yet, but can basically live in 1 move. But like the left side isn't alive yet, the upper side isn't alive yet, and even black is making another group with R11. So black's already in a pretty deep hole here. And so I just say, okay, well, you have weak groups, so I'm gonna jump here, because black could start to connect their weak groups, but black doesn't do that. So okay, I'm gonna jump. So black attaches, play there, and then boom, hit the shape point. So again, I can attack this group. Black bumps, so I kick. This is probably a better move than kick, but it's not a terrible move. But black does get a Hane, Atari, block, and then jump. Wedge, make a co-shape, black takes. I have a co-threats, black blocks, and then black connects. Atari, black covers. So now that black covers, once again, I say, okay, are you sure you want those 2 stones? Black says, yes, I do. So then I jump here. So again, black is not keeping up with white's potential in this game. Black has captured the 2 stones on the right side. That is nice. But now white's lower right is starting to build. So black jumps in. I pull back. Black attaches. I descend. I play here. Yeah, here, this is probably too fast. I can just wedge here. Just to create more weakness in black's shape. Yeah. Because is black really going to connect this? Then I'm just going to cut. So, and if black fixes like this, even I cut, I'm confident I can handle this group, right? I'm definitely stronger than black is locally. So, yeah, I should definitely wedge here. This move was definitely autopilot, just poke the shape. And then connect. Black turns, so I jump. Then black invades. So this is a nice move, and it does work. But the problem is black's stones here, these 6 stones that black just made, are very weak. And now that I'm looking at this, I actually think I had a better move. I can bump here, I think. Yeah, and I think this, I can connect either way. So I think I could have bumped here, which again goes back to the whole adage of your opponent's key move is my key move. So black wants to go here, so what if I take that spot? And I think I can, because if black descends, I can connect on top. If black comes up, I can connect underneath. So I think that was a missed move by me. I can do this. I think that means black needs to play here. But even this move, I think I could refute if I need to, because I can connect, and I can just still connect under. So, yeah, but I think this would be a better move for black. But I just let black connect, because again, I'm just like, well, what are you going to do with these 6 stones? So I peep, because again, okay, black's still not alive up top. Is there? Connect. Now black was there, so okay, so black has an eye here and an eye here. So I cover. And then black peeps, which I have a very nice move to prevent this, or to connect, is I can Hane. Because this Hane forces black to have to cut, which forces me to have to connect. If I just connect, black can play here, and now there's no cuts in black's shape. So this is very good timing. So again, I don't know what that move's doing for black. So then I jump here. So again, this jump is sealing black into the bottom, which is in turn attacking the 7 stones. But black jumps. Where can white play? Monkey jump. And this monkey jump actually kills the bottom side. Just like that. Yeah. Because however black plays, you can't capture the stone to make an eye, and you can't really make an eye on the outside. So basically black's shape looks like this, and so black's dead. So black tries to live a little bit, but just nothing here quite works. So white actually kills the bottom side, and so this game is basically curtains at this point. Now black does try to keep going, and black does get some success, but it won't be enough. Black connects, so I fix. Black takes the ko, jump. Black goes there, cover. Black takes. So this was a move I missed. So I thought this was strange, because I'm like, why wouldn't you just block? Isn't that huge? But what black is actually doing is, while the stone's on the board, black cannot wedge here because of the Atari, and then double Atari, or even capture here. But black takes the stone off the board, so now black is setting up to wedge here. And this is what I missed. So I just Atari, which by itself is just not big. Like, if anything, I can Hane here. This is threatening to capture. So let's say black fixes, I can connect. Now again, if black needs to kill these to win, which is basically what black needs to do, black needs to cut. But now I can attach here. And even if black Ataris, I can connect. And even if black takes these 3 stones, again, look at these 7, now 8 stones in the center. These are basically surrounded. And I can still live up top because I can play here, which is threatening to connect under. So even if black, I don't know, Ataris here, 1 I can just connect under. But if black prevents that, then I can, well, there's still a ko here even. So black needs to somehow win this ko, but also prevent the connection. It's just very difficult for black. And remember, black is giving up a huge center even. So yeah, this would be okay for white. But I didn't even see that there was a wedge here, so I wasn't even thinking about that. But then black wedges. So then I'm like, oh, did I really miss that? Because again, what was black's, after black died on the bottom, how could black come back into this game? And this was it. So I was like, oh man. Okay, well, let's see what I can do. So there is some aji here. So I start with this attach, black Hanes, but then I can threaten to connect. And then I can threaten to connect again. Black covers, Atari. And then here, I think I have something here. If I Atari here, and then cover. Because right now it's I versus no I. And If black wedges, obviously I can't cover because it's a snapback, but I can just extend here because look at these 4 stones here. They still need to live. So black can't be too gung-ho about making liberties when these 4 stones can get captured. Because if black gets too caught up, I can just capture these 4, which just connects my group anyways. So I think this is fine. I think this is fine. Again, if we fill liberties, well, I can... there's no need. Just let black Atari. If we fill liberties, we can see that black runs out. So I just need to make an eye here. So Atari, again, this is Sente. This is Sente. But I just play here, which is threatening to capture. So after black goes there, black Ataris. So again, I can just take once and then go here. And it's simple. But for some reason, I just cover and allow black to connect. So again, I don't know why I'm not just taking here. Because there's no other move for black. Like, if black goes here, I can just take. And it's simple. Even squeeze like this first. And then take. So, yeah, this part was played pretty badly by me, for sure. So now black has enough liberties. I connect. Black Ataris connect. This forces black to go here. Atari once, because while these are on the board, this is an Atari. And then connect. Black plays here. This is to prevent any sort of squeeze, but black has captured this. Now, believe it or not, even if black captures that, white is still winning, which is kind of crazy. But the bottom side was just such a huge blow for black that white actually still has enough. But I can even threaten black in here. So I get a lot of forcing moves that help me build. And then I cover. Black covers. And so then all of a sudden we're in basically endgame. Black goes there. Clamp. Connect. And here, it feels like black should fight this ko, right? Because if black is behind, black should do anything to try to get back into the game. So I think black should at least try to fight this ko. Now, I think black's worried about the life and death if black loses this ko, and maybe doesn't think black has enough ko threats either, whereas white has a lot of ko threats here. But like, for example, you have ko threats here, you have ko threats here. This is a ko threat as well, because you have a Sente move here. So yeah, maybe this is a ko threat, and we'll actually see something similar to this later, but maybe black's thinking, well, white has threats here, white has threats here. Like, maybe black thinks white has too many threats. But if you're behind, you got to do something to get into back into the game. So, Dari, connect, then bump, Hane, and then this is white trying to do too much. So, yeah, this I believe just doesn't work. My reading was after this Atari, I could go here, and when black connects, we'll get this shape. Which this would be a dead shape. But here, black can Atari this way first. This forces me to connect. And again, instead of going here, which is a dead shape, black can go here. This almost forces me to play here, but now that's not a dead shape. So black's alive. So I misread here. But even if there was something there, there's no need for me to risk anything. Because I'm just winning. The lower side's just worth too much. I think I was still a bit tilted after losing the right side, after I was like, there's no way these are going to die, and then they died. So yeah, I should just connect though. It's Sente and just cruise to an end game. But after the Atari, black actually jumps here. Because I guess black read something similar to me. And so I Hane here, which is Sente against this. So black goes there, and then I can capture. So now my cuts that didn't work at B9 now worked, and now black needs to live. Atari. I even played this move, which threatens to snap back, and now we have a ko. So connect, that's ko. Because now black's going to lose B11 if black isn't careful. Black pushes, yes, that's a ko threat. That's a ko threat, throw in. That's a threat. Connect, that's a threat. Then black goes here, but I'm like, no, I don't think that's a threat. So I connect, because when black cuts, the idea is if I have to play a move here, black can Atari and then make an eye. So that's black's plan. But in the game, I can push first in Sente, which gets rid of that eye. And then I can descend. So I got rid of that eye. I can throw in next, so I don't need to worry about this side either. So yeah, this is just good for white. Black's trying to make eyes. Black does make one eye, but white actually has a way to get rid of the eye here. Throw in, and then play here, and black's dead, because if black connects, this is still the throw-in, so that gets rid of that eye, but if black connects, then white gets rid of this one. So yeah, black resigned here. And it was quite a brutal game. I think it stemmed from black making too many groups and then misplaying the bottom side when black let me extend and get, I believe, what was it, M3. When black let me get M3, I felt pretty comfortable with this game. But yeah, pretty exciting game with lots of captures and lots of death, which is always fun for spectators and players alike. But yeah, this was my 4th match, and that is 4 wins as well. So doing pretty well in this tournament, and I was quite surprised, especially going against the 2 strongest players in the event. I was nervous, but I was like, you know, let's see what I can do. So the fact that I was able to win both those games, I was quite happy with. But yes, I am 4-0 there. And just as a reminder, there were 10 teams, so there's 9 games to be played. So the next match will be the halfway mark through the event. But yes, if you have any questions about this game, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next video.